This is how to make calderetta, my favorite dish. So first, we're going to go to your local grocery store. Mine's a Kroger. And we need to go to the meat section. We're looking for chuck roast. So this is about $20 for 4 pounds of meat. I did just beat it. Don't worry about it. So then next, we will need red bell peppers. Well, one singular pepper. And here's some ingredients we'll need. I would name them all, but you could see them, so it's a waste of my time. We'll need a cutting board, pretty essential in most cooking. Carrots as well with potatoes. Those are russet potatoes. A strainer. We need some beef stock I had laying around in your kitchen knife. Big old pan. Well, pot, I guess. So first, now we're going to prepare our meat. So we got to rinse the meat. This is just to help. I rinsed it in warm water, but you could do whatever water you want. So now we are slicing our meat into 1-inch strips first, as you'll see here. And it's pretty, the meat can be kind of tough. Make sure to use a sharp knife if possible. So once we have our strips done, see right here, I'm trying to explain that we're trying to make cubes. So as we're making these 1-inch cubes, you want to make them all around the same size. This is so that they will all cook around the same, because if you have big cubes, they'll never cook evenly. So now we're just filling our meat pot with water. So because now we're going to tenderize the meat, we're going to put it over heat and boil it for about an hour, as you'll see. So our stove gets pretty hot. I use it on the biggest burner that we have, and I set it to about 8. So if you have a smaller burner, I would go to your highest setting, and so it's 651. So now we have an hour break to prepare our other foods. So since you just used your cutting board to cut raw meat, you obviously will want to rinse it, because there's something called cross-contamination. We touched on it a little bit, and I also worked in food service, so I've known this for a while. So once you rinse that, you want to get a bowl and just fill it with water. We're going to start peeling our carrots and potatoes. I was just showing you how I do it. I like to make big, long slices like that. So once you're done, you put them on your cutting board and you want to slice them. So here, I only slice 2 with one hand, which is kind of hard. So here's a time lapse of me and my mom, my beautiful mother in the back. I'm just slicing all of the carrots and potatoes. So you want these around the same size, because you want them to cook evenly as well. So once you do this, you put all your potatoes in the water and let it sit until you're ready to do more. Now we are going to cut our pepper. This is kind of a pain in the butt. So peppers are weird. So these red bell peppers are not spicy at all in any way, shape, or form. But you don't want any of the seeds that are in the center of the red bell pepper to get inside. So keep that in mind. I usually rinse it inside the strainer, which is, you'll see later in the video. So for red bell peppers, you want to cut each node off separately. And then here, later on in just a minute, I'll show you guys that you want to cut it in diagonal stripes almost. It helps with the consistency. You want to make it the same size like everything else, so it cooks evenly. So this is what it looks like once you're done. And then now, see how nasty that pot is? It's pretty gross. So we're gonna rinse all those impurities out from the meat, because it's not very high grade meat. So once we rinse it out, we're going to leave the meat in the strainer for a little bit while we scrub the pan, because it gets pretty dirty. So now that it's all nice and clean, we will now put the meat back in, fill it with water, and we're going to put it back over heat for about another 30 minutes, because a whole hour has gone by. So we're going to put it around 8 or 9 again. So once it's boiling, now we're ready to add our other ingredients. Just about time. So we want to stir it. So this is where you first want to season. So you want to add 2 whole rounds of salt around the outer rim, and you also want to use pepper. Really, this is up to you guys, but I like to have seasoning in my food, so I go pretty heavy on the salt and pepper. So remember that beef stock, you want to put it in there. And this is also tomato paste. So the tomato paste is like a thicker sauce, basically. And yeah, you just want to add it in there, and then it gets kind of clumpy and it smells not great. So once you start in there, it'll loosen up like that. And now we're going to have it simmer. So you want to, I turn mine down to 6, and now we are getting ladles of vinegar and also soy sauce into the mixture. So soy sauce is already salty, so don't forget that. And then I put 2 bay leaves in. This kind of helps with aromatics, so it kind of helps it smell better and just taste better in general, but obviously you do not eat them. Here my glasses got pretty foggy, so every good cook tastes their own food. So I judged my own food and said, hey, you need more salt, bro. So what I did, I had to add more salt. And don't forget, I also kind of like spice, so I added a good bit of Tabasco, but that is not needed in your calderetta. So here soon after this, sorry about that, we're going to add those potatoes and carrots that we totally forgot about. I'm just kidding. This is the right time to add them in. Here, we are checking for tenderness. So if you take a fork, you want to stab it through a carrot to make sure it's fully cooked. It should be soft and not too hard. I decided here that is fine, and you also want to kind of check your meat. Your meat should not be hard. Like, it should be pretty easy to go through, and I mean, of course, you still have another like 30-ish minutes, so it'll still tender up here soon. So now we're adding the potatoes, and we're also adding the peppers. Oh, I guess I lied to you guys earlier. We only added the potatoes. I meant the carrots earlier. So once we add those, it's looking really good, like a beef stew, but better because it's Filipino. I'm just kidding. Don't get mad at me, Miss Allen. So I kind of like my sauce to be a little bit thicker. So here we added cornstarch and water, and we just poured in the mixture, so it'll eventually help thicken up the sauce. And here we are pretty much done. This is a good dish of calderetta, and I love having rice over it. And here, look at that. So this is me trying to do a commercial. So when I am hungry, which is not very often, I like to eat food. And when you eat calderetta. Stay hungry, my friends. Thank you. And here is a little bit of an excerpt. So I just want to say I did this because my mom always makes it. It's my favorite food. It's helping my heritage. That's kind of a little bit of why I decided to make this meal. Thank you. Have a good day.